Okay, we're getting down to the very end of this thing. As you can see, I've gone ahead and painted the horses on the one side here. And now I'm getting ready to paint the buffalo on this side here, which I'll show you how I went about doing it, which would be the same as doing it with the horses. Okay? Alright, so I had to find me some pictures of buffalo running. Now, I went on the internet, and at a clip art site I found these here, and then I just reduced them down so I could get a scale that would match the horses, which would be this one, this strip right here. Okay? And then I found another picture of a buffalo that I really like the color of it, so this is basically the coloring that I'm going to use when I paint those buffalo. Alright? Now, another place, if you're looking for things like this, is this book here. Now, this book has been around for ages, literally ages, and trying to find the original copyright date in here, but it's old, believe me, because the pictures in here are taken back right when photography first came in. And this guy Muybridge, Edward Muybridge, went and made these photographs of animals from just about every angle in every situation of motion you could think of. And it's not just horses, it's cows, and goats, camels, lions, or that was a dog. There's cats, there's some lions, just everything. Well, I was interested in buffalo, so I went over here to this page, and here are a whole bunch of pictures of buffalo running. And there's buffalo walking. And you get some kangaroos in there if you want, and birds. Anyway, they're all in this book. There's two books. There's this book here on animals, and then he has another book on humans, which shows men and women doing all sorts of tasks in poses on the side, front, back, angle, you name it. They're, you know, for reference material, these are great books. So anyway, what I did was I decided on this line of buffaloes. So with some tracing paper, I went over and I transferred the outer drawings of them roughly onto a piece of what do you call it, tracing paper. Got off of there. Someone asked me, why are you using three? In the past you've only used one. Well, something big like this, when I lock this thing down there with some glue, I want that thing fixed to where it's not going to be able to wiggle around. But even with a thicker post here, you'd still be able to wiggle it just by the wood fibers being able to turn. We're doing it this way, that's not going to happen. So anyway, set that aside. So now, figure of place, I want them kind of running away like I did the horses here. So we will put them on here. About like that there, I think. That'll all work. And then I've got me a piece of transfer paper here. This is just transfer paper. You can get it down at Hobby Lobby or Walmart, probably have it. Put that in there. Gently. Find me a pencil here. And just start drawing it on here. I don't think you need to watch this whole thing. Just want to give you an idea of what I'm doing. Okay, I've hopefully got that transferred, so let's just peel this off and see what happens. Yeah, I think it'll be okay.
See it.
No, I can't see much either. So I'll just with the pencil kind of reinforce these lines here. There, I lost my line there. There it is. And then the next one up here. Almost have to sketch it on there. Oh, the line gone completely there. It comes up like that. Put that like there. Okay. Alrighty, now we'll see what happens. Okay, I'm going to start with, find me a nice color here. I'm going to start with raw sienna just to sketch this in there. And I think I'll just paint out of the cap. Can't really see nothing on that upper buffalo. Kind of winging it up there. Okay. Now get me some burnt umber. That's asphaltum. Well, I'll be able to try that. I want to paint in, I don't want to put the paint on there too strong because I want this to look like it's kind of, you know, transparent. I'm going to do this lower buffalo first, and then we'll think about whether you want to do that upper buffalo. Okay, now I'm going to use this dark burn umber that I mixed up myself. Ooh, that's dark, that's dark. You just sort of have to build up the wash as you go along. Kind of nervous having this being recorded. When you're doing a carving, you know, carving is sort of a progression. You start off, you've got a wide latitude to make mistakes, and then the farther you go along, the less that area becomes. And it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse the farther you go along until eventually you're down, you know, everything is down to the point that if you don't watch out, you can really screw up something you've spent a lot of time on. And I'm at that point right now. So it's kind of nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking anyway, but then when you're doing it on a camera, it's even more so. Okay, let's see here. We need to get his tail in there. I think we're only going to have time to do this one buffalo, so I'm just going to stick with him. Not worry about the other. Now this is kind of realistic. An Indian I don't doubt would paint an animal this realistic, but I like to do it this way, so that's how we're going to do it. Okay, so with my hair dryer, things squared away here. Let's see. I might just put a little highlight right there. That looks pretty good. My stomach's kind of roaring. We went down this morning and I had a big Hatch chili burrito. Really good too. Okay, now we got to paint in that horn, and I'm going to use a light tan here, not that one. Find that spot. Going to paint over my pencil mark. A little bitty hair on the back end of my brush. like I say, after a while you use these brushes, they adapt their own shape. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Okay, now we got that. And then there's a eye that's down underneath it, which is about right there. Okay. Alrighty, now, finally, what I'm going to do now is, this is Tester's Dull Coat. Let's see if I got a new one down here. I do, right here. It's called, where is it here? Dull Coat, right there. See that? Cost $5 down at Hobby Lobby. What this is a flattening paint that modelers use, you know, when they're building plastic models after they, like an airplane or something like that. After they get it all put together and painted and everything, they spray it with this stuff and it makes everything flat, but it doesn't, you don't lose the color. Okay? So I'm going to take this. First of all, why am I doing this? Because I'm going to use a pen to outline this buffalo, and I want a nice surface to do that. So I'm going to even the surface up by spraying this on there. Just about like that. Dries real quick. You know, that stuff works great if you got a shiny spot on a carving, like with the Indian. I did that here on his braids, up here on the top, on the feathers. It just kills that shine, but it doesn't take the color away. It just kills the shine. Okay. So now, I bought these down there. It's hard to find a pen that will write on painted wood, but I found these are just about the only pens that I've been able to find that will actually do that. And believe me, I've gone through lots of pens trying to figure it out. Cost $16, and you get a whole selection of the widths. So I'm looking for the smallest one, which is the S. And it's pretty small. So with this pen, I'm just going to lightly outline it. And this will sharpen the edges, sort of like a burn pencil. But it gives you a little more flexibility than trying to burn something this small, especially when you're as nervous as I am while someone's filming. Making little corrections while I go along here. Well, that looks pretty good. Okay, now finally, If you hang on just a moment. With my semi-gloss clear here, I get the lid off. Okay, we had bare wood, then we put acrylics on top of the bare wood. Acrylics again here. Ink, which has a tendency to run if it gets wet, so you got to be careful with that. So we've got acrylics, we've got mineral-based varnish, we've got acrylics on top of that varnish, and we've got ink outlining the acrylics. Now, sometimes these things have a tendency to run, especially the ink. So you have to be careful. Like when I did the buffalo here, when I put on this, I just real lightly spritzed it, because lacquer and mineral spirit based varnish do not mix. And if you get too much on there, you know, something's going to happen and you're not going to be very pleased with it. So again, this is not a lacquer. That's about all I want right there. And I'll dry it real quick. Okay, the colors are nice, but notice I've got shine now. It's dry, but I've got that shine on there, but I don't want that. Take a little more, I guess. That pretty well took care of it. There's just a little bit left there, but I think that's not enough to hurt. So, let's put him back together here. Like I say, I'm not going to... See what I mean? That thing, once it's glued, it's not going to twist or anything. It's solid. Put the Indian back on there. So you can see, once I get that buffalo painted, and looking at it, like this buffalo here, he's kind of high, so I might just put just the base, you know, just the back of one right down in here to even it out. But I think that's going to look pretty slick. So that's going to do it for this time, and we'll do one more video. I'll show you how, you know, I put the head on there, glue it in, and then we'll talk a little bit about this carving, on how it turned out, if it can be improved, and whatever. Okay, so until then, I'll talk to you later.